Once, in a sunlit kingdom by the sea, there lived a queen whose counsel was a single man she trusted above all others. He was quick with answers, calm in storms, and so precise in judgment that no great decision was made without his advice. Because of this, envy gathered in the corners of the court. Smiles hid sharp tongues. Whispers traveled faster than truth. One morning, before the court assembled, the queen said to her counselor, "You are wise, but your daughter is foolish. She has no sense at all." The counselor steadied his breath. "Your Majesty, why do you say that? What has she done?" "Every day," the queen replied, "as I walk the bazaar to greet the people, your daughter is there. I ask her the simplest question, which is worth more, copper or gold? And every day she answers, copper." The stalls around us erupt with laughter. I cannot understand how a wise man can raise a child who confuses copper with gold. The court heard this and chuckled behind their palms. The counselor felt the sting but said nothing. He bowed, left the palace, and went straight home. He found his daughter at the courtyard table, trimming jasmine stems and setting them gently in water. "Child," he asked, "tell me plainly, between copper and gold, which is more valuable?" She didn't look up. "Gold, of course." "Then why do you tell the queen, each morning, that copper is more valuable?" Now she lifted her eyes and studied his face, as if deciding how much to reveal. "Father, walk with me," she said. She led him down the lane, through the noisy market, and into her small room behind the flower seller's stall. She slipped a key from around her neck, opened a low wooden chest, and stepped aside. Inside were neat stacks of copper coins, so many that the counselor's eyebrows rose. "Where did all this come from?" he asked. "From the queen," she said simply. "Each morning, when she passes through the market, she stops at the flower seller's table. She calls me over, places 2 coins in her palm, 1 copper, 1 gold, and says, 'Take the more valuable coin.' I take the copper coin. She laughs, the vendors laugh, and everyone says the queen is kind and the counselor's daughter is foolish. Then she continues her walk. Tomorrow she will do it again." The counselor stared at the chest once more. "And if you chose the gold coin?" "She would be satisfied," the daughter replied. "The game would end. No more questions, no more coin tomorrow. 1 gold coin today and nothing after. But if I keep choosing copper, the queen enjoys her joke, the crowd enjoys the laughter, and I receive a coin every day. 1 gold piece would be gone in a heartbeat. These coppers, gathered patiently, pay for lamp oil, for bread, for jasmine stems, and for the little school I keep on Sundays for the baker's children. People may call me foolish. Their words are light. These coins are heavy." The counselor said nothing for a long moment. He was listening not to the room, but to the quiet logic behind her words, the kind that doesn't argue, only adds. "At court," he said at last, "they were laughing at you." She smiled. "Let them. Their laughter buys their own entertainment. Mine buys food, paper, and ink." He closed the chest and rested his hand on the lid. "And you never tire of being the punchline?" "Father," she said, "not everything worth doing is worth explaining. If I answer once with gold, the queen's curiosity dies. If I keep choosing copper, her curiosity, her delight, keeps returning. I am paid for preserving it. And anyway, what would I be trading? Their approval for my purpose? A loud cheer for a quiet provision. I would rather keep my purpose." That evening the counselor returned to the palace. Court was in full bloom, silks, perfumes, soft claps. The queen noticed him and, with a hint of mischief, asked, "Have you spoken to your daughter? Will she tell me the truth tomorrow?" "I have spoken to her," he said. "She is telling the truth already." The queen tilted her head. The room paused. "Sometimes," he continued, "wisdom looks like refusal. Sometimes it looks like patience in a crowded place. Not every right answer is the one that ends a question. Some answers feed a family." No one laughed. The next morning unfolded as always. The queen walked through the market, trailed by attendants and music. She stopped at the flower table. The girl stepped forward, hands perfumed by jasmine. The queen placed 2 coins on her palm. 1 copper, 1 gold, shining like 2 small suns. Take the more valuable one, the queen said. Around them, vendors leaned in, smiles poised. The girl took the copper coin and bowed. The queen smiled, and the street, relieved by the familiarity of the moment, bubbled into laughter. The girl slipped the coin into her pouch and returned to trimming stems. Days became weeks, and the routine continued. The flower seller's daughter kept her quiet economy. The queen kept her question. The market kept its joy, and the counselor, passing through on his way to the palace, would sometimes pause at the edge of the crowd and watch, not the coin, but the patience that gathered it. One late afternoon, a traveler from the interior, dusty boots, sharp eyes, stopped at the flower table. He had been passing through the city for days and had seen the morning spectacle more than once. "Tell me," he said softly, "why do you take the copper?" "Because it is the more valuable," she said. He laughed. "Surely not." It is. Over time," she answered, bundling a handful of jasmine with twine. "Value isn't only what shines. Sometimes it is what repeats." The traveler bought the jasmine and a small lunch from a nearby stall, then returned with 2 cups of tea. "And if the queen asks you about pride?" he asked. "About how it feels to be called foolish?" She lifted 1 cup, offered him the other. "Pride is expensive," she said. "Tea is cheap. I prefer what feeds me." He nodded and left a silver coin for the tea. That night he wrote a letter to a merchant friend in the next port. "There is a girl in the seaside city who knows the arithmetic of patience. If you want a clerk who can count what matters, send for her." Weeks later, a sealed message reached the palace, a request to sponsor a small school in the market quarter. Chalk, slates, oil for lamps. The signature at the bottom was the traveler's, with a note, "Someone here multiplies copper." The queen read it twice, then walked the bazaar at dawn, before the music and the crowd. She found the counselor's daughter sweeping rose petals from the stall boards, hair tied back, coin pouch at her waist. "Do you still think copper is more valuable?" the queen asked. The girl looked up. "In this city, yes, because it keeps coming." "Then take this," she said, setting down not coins, but a small ledger stamped with the royal seal. "Keep count of what the market needs. Bring me your sum at the end of each week. If copper can build a school, perhaps our questions can build a city." From that day forward, the morning game ended without ending. The queen still visited the market, the girl still kept her pouch. But now she also kept a ledger, pages filled not with pride or permission, but with numbers that made lamps burn longer, bread stretch further, and children's letters straighten into words. When the court remembered to call her foolish, the counselor would smile and let the echo pass. Those who know the weight of things don't argue with those who know only the shine. Perhaps you've noticed this in your own life. Some people do a small thing and make a spectacle of it, as if thunder had followed their whisper. Others do a great deal and say nothing at all. If you are doing what is right, you don't need the room to agree with you. The world has always laughed at what it does not understand. It always will, but laughter spends quickly. Purpose saves. Pride buys a moment. Patience buys a life. And if anyone asks you which is more valuable, you can smile and answer in your own way. Take what keeps coming. Build what keeps growing. Let the crowd keep its noise. Keep your ledger. Subscribe our channel for more stories to make your life beautiful.